Israel-Iran News Now. Who says checkpoint delays hinder aid to northern Gaza hospitals? According to Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, efforts to access two northern Gaza hospitals over the weekend were partially successful due to checkpoint delays and fighting. On April 20, WHO and partners could only partially finish their trip to Kamal Adwan and Al-Adha hospitals because of substantial checkpoint delays and continuous violence, Tedros wrote Monday on X. He stated that for the second time in 7 days, gasoline and medical supplies did not reach Kamal Adwan, and partners were unable to assess needs at Al-Adha to enable service restoration. This increases the health hazards of crucial patients treated there. He claimed the mission evacuated 4 critically ill patients and their caregivers from Kamal Adwan, including one at risk of leg amputation. We again demand for compliance with international humanitarian law, including health treatment and humanitarian relief for needy civilians. We demand a ceasefire again. Tedros wrote. Jordan urges Israel to stop a Rafah ground invasion. Jordan's Foreign Minister Ayman Safadi urged nations to persuade Israel to prevent a ground assault of Rafah. To stop Israel from bombing Rafah, everyone must pressure it. He wrote on X Monday that another slaughter will result. Safadi said radicals in Israeli administration are pushing an explosion in the West Bank. Today, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced a date for a ground offensive into Rafah, saying entrance into Rafah was vital for a full triumph against Hamas. Around 1.5 million Palestinians are refugees in Rafah, the southernmost area of the besieged territory. After fleeing northern conflict, the head of Israel's military intelligence resigned over Hamas' October 7 attacks in southern Israel, when militants killed 1,200 people and kidnapped 250. Aaron Haliva is the first senior military figure to resign after the Hamas strikes, Israel's worst day since its formation. Israeli leaders have slammed the U.S.'s reported plans to censure an IDF unit for human rights abuses in the occupied West Bank. Recent developments. Israeli intelligence chief resigns. Major General Aaron Haliva resigned Monday over his leadership responsibility for the October 7 Hamas strikes. Haliva admitted to an intelligence failure by his team in not alerting Israel of Hamas-led attacks shortly after the attack. IDF thanked him after 38 years of service. Jerusalem car crash. A vehicle hit 3 pedestrians on Mordecai Tekelet Street in Jerusalem on Monday morning. Israeli police claimed 2 guys exited the car with firearms but dropped them as they fled on foot. Arrests have occurred. U.S. aid to Israel. The U.S. House of Representatives authorized $26.4 billion in Israel aid as part of a foreign aid package that must pass the Senate. The PA president's spokeswoman sharply denounced the move. U.S. plans IDF sanctions. The Biden administration is allegedly considering sanctioning the Netza Yehuda battalion for suspected human rights breaches in the occupied West Bank before October 7. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu slammed the reports and threatened to act by all means against the penalties. Gaza civil defense workers found a mass grave with almost 300 victims at the Nasser hospital in Khan Yunis after Israeli troops withdrew on April 7 after a months-long offensive. CNN's Stringer on the ground reported that the IDF was digging up bodies to test for Gaza hostages' DNA. Netanyahu persists, despite mounting U.S. and international pressure to avoid civilian losses and provide Gaza supplies. Netanyahu warned Sunday that Israel would soon strike additional and painful blows and raise military and political pressure on Hamas to release Israeli detainees. Gaza civil defense workers found a mass grave with roughly 300 victims at the Nasser hospital in southern Gaza after Israeli soldiers left on April 7. We have recovered 283 martyrs from the mass grave in the courtyard of the Nasser medical complex since the Israeli forces left, Khan Yunis Civil Defense Director Colonel Yamin Abu Suleiman told CNN Monday. A months-long Israeli offensive destroyed Khan Yunis. Suleiman said several bodies had chained hands and feet. Field executions were evident. They were either executed or buried alive. Most corpses are decomposing, said. CNN cannot corroborate Suleiman's statements or the circumstances of death of the discovered remains. CNN has asked the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, about the mass burial discovery. One man at the area told CNN that he hasn't found his 21-year-old son's body since January. "I haven't found him. We buried him there. We can't find him. We wanted a decent grave for him."